As you've heard, we are live on Facebook. It'll be available on YouTube. We want to thank WeBeam TV. You can go to webeamtv.com to check that out. Thank you all. Welcome to the West Pasco Chamber of Commerce General Election Debate. My name is Jeremy George. I'm the MC and chairman of the Public Policy Committee meeting, and we are the organization that put that together. We meet on the second Wednesday of every month. If you want to become more active in your community, we are always welcoming you. We have our moderators here tonight is Steve Sherdell, who is the managing partner of Hits 106. Thank you. Tina Shelton, who is the West Pasco Chamber of Commerce chairman, and Queen Chasco. Our timers filling a very important role this evening, Nora George and Cynthia Armstrong. The way this is going to work is the questions will alternate. As an example, Steve may ask one question. The candidate that is asked the question will have 2 minutes to respond. When you have 1 minute remaining, when 1 minute is remaining, you will see a green light appear. The green light is down here on the box. 30 seconds. When you have 30 seconds, it will go yellow. And when your time is up, it goes red. Occasionally, Cynthia may have to ring the bell. That means it's over. The way it will work is Steve may ask one question, and then it will alternate with Tina as an example, then asking two questions. We've taken questions from the audience and throughout the chamber members. If you want to submit questions, they are out front. Fill those out, and we will get those hopefully mixed into the pile. Please turn all cell phones off. Thank you so much for being here, and good luck to the candidates.
All right, Mr. Barry Horvath will start with his opening statement.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Barry Horvath, and I'm running for County Commissioner, District 3, right here in Pasco. Thank me to be here tonight is actually today I was sitting getting my hair trimmed up to look my best for all of you. And I'm sitting in the chair, and all of a sudden I'm getting this excruciating pain in my back over by my kidney. Well, for those of you who have had a kidney stone before, you know what that feels like. So I've been at the doctor's all day, and I'm here. So thank you for having me. So in 1973, my parents actually, and they're here, started a Western auto business in Hudson. They actually served this community for 43 years, and I'm very proud of the values and the things that I learned growing up in their store. And from those values, I actually started several small businesses right here myself in town. I want to say I didn't marry into them, I didn't inherit them, but I built every one of those businesses from scratch because I believe that local businesses are the lifeline of this community. And that's why I started the West Pasco Business Association. The West Pasco Business Association is a 501c3 charitable organization. Many of you know what it does. We promote small local business right here in this town, and we give back to the community. Some of our events are like How the Grinch Saved Christmas, where we support local families in need, and we do that annually during the holidays, and we've helped many, many families. We also do a breast cancer awareness fundraiser each year annually. So, and jobs are a big part of this county, as most of you know, and I've heard everybody talking about it. The fact that 85,000 people every single day get in their car and go to work somewhere else, to me, is actually unacceptable, and I feel like we need change there. And I'm successful in all my endeavors because I always like to take a proactive approach to everything I do. And one of the first proactive approaches, of course, I want to address are the flooding issues that we have in this county. And I also want to make, you know, since I'm all about small business, we need to make the business startup process easier. We got to cut through the red tape. We need to get pre-developed site plans out there. You know, we need to make that happen. If you don't make it easy for business in this county, how are they going to want to come here? Also, the number of outstanding housing permits in this county, especially in the 54 corridor, is unacceptable to me.
Thank you, Mr. Horvath. Now a 3-minute opening statement from Commissioner Catherine Starkey.
Thank you, Barry, and I know that's painful, so congratulations for being here. I'm Catherine Starkey. I'm the current chair of the Pasco County Commission. I'm the only female on that commission. And I am a mother of 4, a grandmother of 2, and I'm happily married to my husband who's here, Trey Starkey, for almost 25 years. My mom's actually here from Miami too. Hey, Mom. Starkey family's been here in this community since the 1930s, and I'm very proud to continue on the legacy of community service that this family started back in the 1930s. We're members of the Presbyterian Church of Seven Springs and members of many civic and charitable organizations. As I've said to this group before, 25 years ago when I married my husband and stopped working in the corporate world or business world, I rolled my sleeves up and tried to make this county and community the best possible it could be and to give its citizens the best quality of life. I was happy to be appointed by 3 different governors to various local, regional, and state boards as I made my way through the local government process and the regional governments and state governments. I learned a lot. Some of the things that helped me prepare for the job I have now are graduating from the USF Water Leadership Institute. I served 6 years on the Pinellas-Anclote River Basin Board appointed by Governor Bush and Governor Christ. I helped write the comprehensive land use plan for the county when we were sued and had to do our EAR report, evaluation and appraisal report. I helped start and served on the Citizens Ordinance Review Committee. That is a committee that reviewed ordinances that had to do with land uses. My focus as I have been here on these 4 years has been, of course, jobs, because without new jobs in this county, the burden falls on the taxpayer, and it can be a heavy burden. So we have to readjust that formula and have more of our costs paid for by the businesses than the homes. And I helped to bring the mobility fee here to Pasco County long before I knew I was going to be a county commissioner, but I knew that was going to incentivize jobs on the 54 corridor. We don't incentivize houses, but we do incentivize job growth. I also helped start the International Council and started a program called Growing Global to help our local businesses learn how to export, because we've never done that in Pasco County. And so we're helping local businesses reach new markets around the world. I inherited a district, District 3, that has massive flooding issues, and started sending resources to the Trinity and Thousand Oaks area. And if you saw during this last flooding event, the water got out of there a lot quicker, but we have a lot more to do in that area, and I'm sure we'll talk about that later tonight. Thank you very much.
And Commissioner Starkey, I think there's a microphone to your right. Just, okay. All right. This
We're
question,
just trying to share.
Okay. Good job, guys.
Probably hot and warm on that. Sorry, my hands hot.
Okay. This first question is for Mr. Horvath. Do you think the county is doing enough to attract high-paying jobs, and what plans do you have to bring in more businesses to our county or community?
I don't think that we're doing enough right now to attract high-paying jobs. We need more pre-developed site plans, first of all, because it takes forever to get a business started in this county. Has anybody here ever tried to open a business in Pasco? People talk about it everywhere and say, I will never come to Pasco County to do business again. I know of a pizzeria in Hudson that just took over a year to actually get to fruition. I know of a veterinarian over on 54 that took months and months and months to get approval. So until we make it easier and attract these businesses by giving them incentives to come here, they're not going to come here, especially the high-paying jobs.
Commissioner Starkey, 1 minute.
Can you ask the question again?
Do you think the county is doing enough to attract high-paying jobs, and what plans do you have to bring in more businesses to our community or county?
So we are very fortunate in Pasco County that our citizens passed the penny for Pasco. We are one of the few counties in the state that has our own incentive package, and we could use that to help bring companies here. You can see the state is kind of shying away from that, so we're going to use that to our great advantage. You may have noticed that we just announced a company with 500 jobs moving here into District 3, actually, on the Suncoast and 54. It's an international manufacturing company, and part of the attraction that we were able to use, and I personally went down there and met with them numerous times, is that we have a training program here that was just mentioned about AM Skills, which I actually started. It's a very unique program. We're in 3 counties, and we're taking high school students, we're pairing them with local manufacturers, we're building that workforce here in Pasco that's so important for manufacturing, and we're giving our students great paying jobs when they graduate. So that's one thing that we're doing that I'm very proud of. I also sit, when I can, I have a very busy schedule, but we have meetings with that's called the Horizontal Roundtable, and this is where we discuss these permitting issues. And I go in and sit and listen to the industry talk about the problems that they're having and try and fix them.
30 seconds, Barry.
We all need, the jobs are so important to the livelihood and the economic development, and I'm proud to say that I employ many people in this county, and they're all from this county. I don't know that my opponent can say that, or she's ever run a business personally. I believe their own blueberry farm brings in employees actually from out of the area. So
All right, thank you. I guess our next question then would be for Catherine Starkey, for Commissioner Starkey. Commissioner Starkey, one of the things that we realize as West Pasco citizens and as a member of the West Pasco Chamber of Commerce is a disparity between the east side of the county and the west side of the county. We have heard, and again, I'd like your comment on this, but we have heard that a disproportionate amount of funding goes to fund ball fields and other amenities over on the east side of the county, while the west side of the county is in a state of blight or disrepair. There's maybe a kinder term for that, but I do business here and I live here, and I think it's a reality. And what we wondered is, or what I wondered is, what can you promise that you will do to take some of that focus away? Everybody likes the front runner in the race. Everybody likes the horse that's going to win. But what can we do to revitalize West Pasco County, to give back to our neighborhoods and our businesses in the community, to make it a whole county of prosperity, not an east-west disparity?
Okay, you asked 2 questions there, and I have 1 minute. Okay, so impact fees are divided into 3 zones: east, west, and central. So those impact fees that are collected on the east side get spent on the east side. Those on the central get spent in the central, and those on the west get spent in the west. So you cannot cross over most of the time. The east side is different than the west side. Now I'm talking about Dade City versus Land O'Lakes versus Newport Richey. But we've done some things to protect the east side from development. And I'm messing up my answer. Okay, on the west side, I am working hard on US 19 to revitalize it. I do walk-arounds in the communities that are have been very challenged, or bus-arounds. We take the code enforcement, we take minimum housing staff, we take all kinds of staff, and we look at solutions to help improve those neighborhoods. And I'm also getting ready to announce a very special overlay district for my part of US 19 that will be a different kind of zoning process so that businesses can come to that area more quickly and have a cheaper process through the permitting. And I'm very happy to say we're starting to tear down some of the buildings that are neglected, like Holiday Square just came down this week. We're also working with Senator Fasano's office to identify businesses in the 19 corridor that don't have the proper licenses to be there and the improper zoning. So we're moving from a reactive code enforcement to a proactive code enforcement this year, because in our budget we were able to get 4 more code enforcement officers. So I would say it may look like you're getting more money spent in Wesley Chapel, but that's just not the case. We're going to be spending it across the county evenly, and some of it is because you have to spend it where that money is generated.
Mr. Horvath, you have a minute to respond.
1 minute?
Yes, sir.
the east side is a different world than the west side, and their goals are entirely different. The people out east love the rural country. They love that lifestyle. Over here on the west side, we're definitely more, there's more of a build-out going on. In fact, there's so much build-out going on that we are not focused on revitalization right now. There's actually almost 20,000 outstanding permits in the 54 corridor with a lack of planning for any infrastructure. So we need to shift that new growth into, I'm in favor of growth, but we need more revitalization, which is going to bring up our home values. If we revitalize these worn and tired areas, it only makes sense that the whole area will improve and property values will go up.
Ms. Starkey?
I have a 30 second.
30 seconds, yes, ma'am.
So I think you can just drive down 19 and start to see the changes. We're cleaning up the derelict buildings. We have banks being more accountable to those foreclosed homes in the neighborhoods where they weren't mowing the grass. We have in the works a program that will hold the rental community more accountable, similar to the Newport Richey rental ordinance. Is that my 30 seconds up? Okay. So there are changes for the better here on the west side.
All right, my next question would be to Barry Horvath, and I'm sorry to stay on the same subject, but Barry, West Pasco, again, in need of revitalization. One of the challenges there, I was at a meeting where the property appraiser, Mike Wells, came and said that one of the problems in Pasco is an eroding tax base due to not appreciation of values in some of the communities like Regency Park and Embassy Hills that were longtime great communities in this area. It seems like there's a pressing need to somehow revitalize those areas and bring those areas back. Again, a lot of the growth, a lot of the attention, a lot of the energy is spent on the growth to the east. Do you think that as a county and as a board of commissioners, we could develop some type of a plan to revitalize neighborhoods? They've done it in northeastern cities. In Cleveland, Ohio City came back from the edge of despair. And then we see areas like Detroit that have never recovered. Again, not to draw that analogy between the two areas, but do you think there's something we can do as a county commission to change our West Pasco area and do it proactively and quickly?
Thank you, Steve. I love that word, proactively. You know, I actually grew up in Embassy Hills in 1973, and I know this is going to shock all of you, but that was the premier neighborhood in Pasco County, and it has changed so much. I believe that we need to offer more incentives to revitalize these worn down areas, and if we don't do that, they're just going to keep deteriorating. We're going to get more homeless population because the areas are going to be run down. I mean, we have one of the worst drug problems in the country. The pill poppers are all over Pasco County. So if we don't focus on revitalizing and cleaning up some of these rundown areas, we're going to keep getting the same thing.
Commissioner Starkey.
One of the projects I have coming up is working with our legislators on an appropriation, we're going to call it a pilot program, to help revitalize not just US 19. We're going to do US 19, 41, and 301. And that way we engage all our legislators, and we're looking for help to have a pool of money to incentivize some of these older structures to upgrade their signs and their landscaping so that they can compete better with the new businesses that are coming along on the 54 corridor. Because there's definitely a big difference since we changed the ordinances where you have to have landscaping, the lower signs. Those businesses look much nicer, and I'm happy to say I formed a 501c3 Scenic Pasco that led the charge to change all those ordinances. And so we want to incentivize the businesses on these corridors with some kind of pot of money that says, if you take down your sign and put in the new, nicer sign, we will help you pay for that, and we're going to use that as a pilot program.
Mr. Horvath, 30 seconds to respond.
If you've ever run a small business, you know how important signage is, and I'm all for it being beautiful, but it also has to be functional, and it has to attract customers. If you don't have customers, the business is not going to survive. The sign ordinance and the things that are going on with the signs, to me, is secondary to the flooding that's going on right now. And I think our current county commission have shifted the flooding to be a second priority over the sign ordinance.
All right, this next question is for Commissioner Starkey, and it's one from the audience. Do you feel that the 2 amendments to the Florida homeowners exemption are necessary, and how will they impact county revenues if they are passed?
Well, as a person who sees the pinch in local government funding, I would hate to see local government lose more revenue. In 2004, our millage rate was over 9, maybe 9.4, and as the economy grew and the home values grew, this county rolled back the millage to the point where it got down to 5.4, which was great, except one, they didn't save any money, and two, then Save Our Homes came in, and the 3% cap, and it caught Pasco County in a unique position. It took $30 million out of our budget, a huge chunk out of our budget, and we've never recovered. So I would hate to see more funds come out of your local government, but if it does pass, then we will find a way to keep giving you the level of service that we can with the money that we have. And that is something that was very eye-opening for me when I became elected and to the county commission and looked at those budgets. We're in for a challenge in the next few years because our needs are greater and our budget is very constrained. So I'm concerned for the future, but I'm rolling up my sleeves and finding solutions. And one of those is bringing more jobs here. Absolutely, that's what's going to help this county get out of the heavy taxation on the property owner. So,
Okay, Barry, 1 minute.
Can you repeat the question? Sorry, I didn't hear it at
Sure.
all.
Do you feel that the 2 amendments to the Florida homeowners exemption are necessary, and how will they impact county revenues if they're passed?
One of the things I learned about being a great leader is that I surrounded myself with great people that can investigate and research these things. Any revenue loss in this county, though, is definitely going to be a shortcoming and a challenge. And again, back to that revitalization. If we revitalize homes, it brings up the values. It's going to increase revenue. So if we do get that shortcoming, I feel like just by increasing property values, we're going to increase that tax base. If we bring jobs to Pasco, if we do lose that income, again, we'll have more businesses, we'll increase that tax base. It's just it's the cycles of economy.
30 seconds. Okay. All right, next question for Barry Horvath. So you mentioned about the flooding issues a couple times. So what should be done to address the repeated flooding problem in West Pasco? Where will the funding come from?
During these last couple storms, I actually I've met with people on flood task force to discuss the different options. There's people that have been working on this for 8 years, and right now the current solution is, we say it's getting better. I don't think it's getting better. I believe we need to get, we're already partnering with the sheriff, but let's get some of the inmates out to clean out the culverts, because they can work harder and help get that, because our current plan right now is a 92-year plan to clean out the culverts, and to me, that does not work. I don't know if I'm going to be here 92 years. My bets are I probably won't. And prisoner work is free, and I know there's talk about the stormwater fee being increased. Nobody wants an increased tax, but by golly, we're way below the other surrounding counties. I know we can't compare, but we need to look at that fee as well to improve that service. If we don't address the flooding problems, we're going to continue to get what we're getting. And it's just, to me, it's just totally unacceptable. We have to have a solution, and we need to do it now and not wait. Let's not wait for 4 years to start saying, oh, it's flooding, or when it's raining. The flooding problem is still there. It doesn't just happen after it rains.
1 minute?
Can you ask the question again?
Sure. What should be done to address the repeated flooding problem in West Pasco? Where will the funding come from?
So we have many old neighborhoods in West Pasco who were built before Swiftmud came into being in the 1980s. So they were built without any kind of stormwater systems, and to come back in and retrofit a stormwater system in an existing neighborhood is extremely expensive. And we have been analyzing this at the county over the last year, and we have over $300 million worth of stormwater improvements in these neighborhoods. So that is a very big challenge for a county that doesn't have any money to fix any of these. So I got a bus. I took Amanda Murphy and Senator Latvala and took them on a drive around District 3 to see the flooding issues, and we came up a little north and to get Senator Latvala to help us in Tallahassee. I also had gone to Washington previously to work on the Bigger Waters bill, and met some lobbyists up there, or saw some that were working for other counties, and in talking to them, they had brought hundreds of millions of dollars back to those counties. So I worked hard for our county to get some lobbyists, and we just hired a firm, and we're going to be knocking on lots of doors in Washington and Tallahassee to help our citizens.
30 seconds.
It's only common sense with all the new development being built up higher, and we continue to build and build and build, and then all the older neighborhoods are down lower. That water on this new developed area has nowhere to go, and it's going to continue to flood. Some of these older neighborhoods actually have drain pipes that are as little as 6 inches. So in the newer communities, they've built them up bigger with the larger pipes, but common sense tells you you can't keep building, building, building and expect it not to flood and not be proactive again.
Okay, this next question is for Commissioner Starkey. Commissioner Starkey, you're the incumbent. You've had a term. You've had a chance to act as a commissioner. What would you say to potential voters to influence them that the best decision is to give you another term, to complete what you've started, and to move forward? What do you bring into this next term based on your experience?
Well, I think I've laid that out a little bit here, but long before I was ever a county commissioner, I was working on making this community a better place. And yes, I used to have my own business, and I was a marketing director in a publishing company, so I do understand business. But my experience on the Water Management Board, my experience helping write the Comprehensive Land Use Plan, my experience with the budgets at the school district, my experience with workforce training that I've really developed and donated much of my time in the last 8 years, I think makes me very qualified to continue on for 4 more years. I have relationships that I use in the Tampa Bay area, in Tallahassee, and now in Washington, that I hope to leverage to bring back opportunities for our county. And I know Mr. Horvath is a very nice man, and he does a lot of great things in our community, but he doesn't have the relationships that I feel I do. I have started some very unique programs here in the county with AmSkills, which we just won national recognition for last week. Last week also the manufacturing community in Tampa Bay gave me a very big award for my distinguished service in manufacturing. And having lived in 5 countries and many different states, I have a perspective that isn't just from Pasco County. I bring those experiences from living in those other communities and those other countries here, and know that we can be better than we are now. And I work every day to try and make our community a better place. So I look forward to 4 more years. I'm not going to be one of these commissioners that stays here forever, but I think I've earned 4 more years, and I'm looking forward to a new county administrator and some new staff, and we're going to get some of these issues, I'm sorry, I didn't see that, get some of these problems that still persist done.
Mr. Horvath, your response?
Well, the first thing is, most of you know I'm not a career politician. This is my first run at office. And I think people are ready for change. You know, and I feel like I'm in touch with the community. I'm out there with you every day. I think I've been in touch with many of you through the years, not just because I'm running for office, but because I'm here to serve you, and I want to serve you. And all of you know that you could communicate with me openly, and I'm going to listen. Do I know all the problems that the county has? Absolutely not. But will I listen and learn? My track record shows that I come up with solutions, and I'm a proven leader in this community.
Commissioner Starkey, 30 seconds.
I think you can see some of my accomplishments as well. You see the Gills Family YMCA here helping families. You see the first clinic outside of St. Pete for All Children's Hospital here in Pasco County. I served for 3 governors on the State Greenways and Trails Council, and I think you see Pasco County becoming known throughout the state for its growing trails program. And so I'm pretty proud of my accomplishments. I was the first ever school board member of the year for the state of Florida, and that was I was elected to that honor by the business community in the state of Florida. Thank you.
Okay, we have one final question. Thank you, Commissioner Starkey. One final question from Mr. Horvath, and then we'll have our closing statements. Barry, on the flip side of my question to Commissioner Starkey, you're not the incumbent. You're coming in as the new guy without a lot of political experience, not a lot of background in the political system. What do you think it is about you that makes you the unique person to make the changes that you feel Pasco County needs to move forward and go into the next period of growth for our county?
Well, the first thing I'd like to say, Steve, is I really care. I care about this community. And nobody has more heart than me when it comes to doing something. My background in my financial business, my background in my mortgage companies, my background in my title companies shows that, you know, I have the knowledge and wisdom of the real estate, the financial markets, and what's going on out there. Also, just again, you know, the fact that when I am faced with a challenge, I run with it. I'm very proactive with everything I do. You know, in 08 and 09, when this market collapsed, everybody says, oh, Barry, you're going to lose everything. I was in the 3 worst business possible: finance, mortgage, and title. Could anybody think of anything worse to be in? Guess what? I'm still here, right?
All right, Commissioner Starkey.
Well, what was the question?
Oh, it was just, well, the question to him was how he's uniquely qualified. So I guess your thing would be, again, maybe a rebuttal to his feeling. You know, we're in an era of change in the United States where people are looking for something new or something different. How would you address that when people say it's time for a change?
Well, when I was asked to run for the school board, that was not something I ever thought I would do. And frankly, most of my work had been trying to change ordinances and make things improve the quality of life for the residents of Pasco County. So, so when I got off the school board, I went back into the private sector, and I still do some of that work in the private sector. But I was asked again to run for county commission, and I said no when Commissioner Hildebrand retired. And I tried to find someone else who was qualified to run, and a whole bunch of us did, but we couldn't find anybody. Knowing the challenges that we're facing this county, we couldn't find anyone with the skills necessary to help shepherd us through all these changes with the new county administrator, with all the problems in the building department, with all the issues with code enforcement. So I had to buy another house. I had to move out of my house of 20 years. So I made a huge commitment to the people of Pasco County to help move us forward in this era of change. We've made some changes in these 4 years, and we have more to go. Thank you.
Mr. Horvath, 30 seconds.
You know, I have to tell you, after running for office and campaigning for the last 8-9 months, I actually have a great deal of respect for what she has done and how hard it is. And if none of you have ever done that, you ought to give it a try. I recommend it. Okay, no, I don't. But I appreciate what she's done, but I think it's time for her to step aside. I think people are ready for change. I'm fresh, I'm new, I'm innovative, and I'm ready to take on the challenge.
Okay, we're going to wrap this up with the closing statements. So you have 2 minutes, and we'll start with Barry Horvath.
You know, I'm proud to say that, again, all my businesses are right here in Pasco County, and I employ all local people. I'm very proud of them and my team and what they do. And I'm also proud to say that, you know, we talked about the campaign and how hard it is to raise money. Well, every dollar that I have brought in this campaign has been spent back locally, and I'm very proud of that. And my opponent But the most important thing for all you to know is that I'm here to serve you. I think we've lost sight in politics that this is for public service. And if you lose sight of that, you know, things will not change. I know that if I get this, once I'm elected, that my goal will be to make sure that I serve every one of you. And I think that people want change. I am that change. I love it here. You know, I think we have a beautiful coastline, but we don't need to keep looking run down and tired. I want to bring that change. Let's revitalize this area. If you want a commissioner that can and remember, I'm not running for office, I'm running for you. My name is Barry Horvath. Think of me November 8th.
Hey, Commissioner Starkey, you have 2 minutes on closing statements.
I feel like we've been making closing statements for the last 3 questions, kind of. But again, I'm very proud to be serving you as your current chair of the Pasco County Commission. And like I said, this was not something I ever thought I would be working as an elected official. Having moved so often and living so many places, it was kind of cool to be able to put down roots here. Being married to a Starkey, we weren't moving anywhere. So knowing I was going to be here a while, I went to work, and I feel those who know me know the 25 years that I've worked hard. Even when I left the school district, I still stayed working and helping to make the school district the best it could be. I still serve with the Pasco Education Foundation in their Cinderella Ball, which I helped start. We raise money for the teachers and students so they can get scholarships. I also am serving on the Ford Next Generation board. The Ford Foundation is coming here from Michigan, and they're going to work with us to help make our career academies in our high schools, which I brought to the Pasco County, the best they can be, because frankly they're not so good. So I'm a commissioner who gets up in the morning and does my emails early, and I don't get home till 8 or 9 o'clock at night, because I am working hard, because I know I'm not going to be a lifetime politician. I'm not going to do this for long, but I've always been a person who had a lot of energy and worked hard. When I did my first business when I was in 5th grade, and I gave arts and crafts lessons to my neighborhood, the other neighborhood kids. And I worked 3 jobs when I was in college at Florida State. So I've always worked hard. I've always been driven to try and make a difference in my community, and it's probably led me to where I am today, because I'm so fortunate to be living in the same place. I went to 15 different schools growing up, 3 8th grades. So when I knew I was going to be staying in one place, I decided how awesome I get to be part of a community and I can make a difference. So, Catherine Starkey, Pasco County Commissioner. Thank you.
Thank you both.